He is fast, he can whip in fantastic crosses, and he has an unlimited work rate. You might think I'm describing Andy Robertson, but I'm actually talking about Milos Kerkez. With Robertson and Trent no longer together, Liverpool looked to find a new dynamic duo at fullback, and Kerkez and Frimpong can fill that void. So who is Milos Kerkez, and how much better can Liverpool get with the Hungarian at left back? Let's find out. When Liverpool were at their peak, Robertson was like a machine on the left side. He never stopped running, bombing forward to whip in crosses, then sprinting back to defend like his life depended on it. He was chaos and control all in one. I mean, who else is brave enough to talk trash to Messi and then back it up? Now Milos Kerkez brings that same fire. He's got that non-stop engine. He's always charging up and down the left flank. He's not just fast either, he's smart with the ball. If you caught any Bournemouth games, you would see his left foot delivering some dangerous crosses. And he's not afraid to take on defenders when he has the ball at his feet. But here's the twist. Unlike most modern day fullbacks, he can actually defend too. In the 2025 season, he had a 61.5% true tackle win rate. The way The Athletic calculates this stat is by looking at total tackles, then dividing it by total tackles plus challenges lost, plus fouls when attempting a tackle. Sorry I went off on a bit of a math lesson there, but essentially the closer this number is to 100, the better. So 61.5%, that's a solid number. Now you don't have to take my word that he's good. Take the word of arguably the greatest left back to ever play football, Paolo Maldini. Maldini personally called Kerkez in early 2021 in order to persuade him to join Milan. You see, at this time the Hungarian was starting to have some buzz around his name. He had been born in Serbia, but he had moved as a kid to Austria, joining Rapid Wien's academy in 2014. That's where his dream to become a professional footballer quietly began. A few years later, still just a teenager, he took another leap, this time to Hungary. He signed with a second division side called Yori Ito in 2020. It wasn't a glamorous move, but it was the one that changed everything. Surrounded by coaches and teammates who believed in him, Kerkez got only better and better. In fact, it was during this period that he chose to represent Hungary on the international stage. And he did that because the support he had received from his coaches and teammates had completely changed his life. It had made him hungrier. Get it? Anyways, during this time, his performances started speaking for themselves. Even though he was in the lower leagues, scouts were starting to take notice. The kid was on the rise. Maldini had noticed Kerkez's talent and brought him to Italy. Kerkez himself said that you cannot say no when Maldini calls you. And he's right. It was a huge opportunity, a massive leap to a top team in the top 5 European leagues. For Kerkez, it was a taste of football at its highest level. He trained with some big names and even made a preseason appearance for the Rossoneri in a friendly match during the summer of 2021. But when the real games came, chances were harder to come by. He never made an official appearance in Serie A. After spending a year watching from the sidelines, Kerkez knew that he needed more. He was thankful for the experience, but what he wanted the most was to play. So in January of 2022, he made a pretty brave choice. He left Milan behind and set out to find a club where he could grow on the pitch, instead of sitting there just warming the bench for the starters. And he found exactly what he was looking for in the Netherlands. On the 29th of January 2022, he signed with AZ Alkmaar, a club that was known for giving young players a real chance. At first, he started with Young AZ, the reserve team, where he got the chance to build his confidence and get his match fitness up, because remember, he had been barely playing. But it didn't take long for people to see that he was ready. Just a few months later, in May of 2022, he made his senior debut in the Eredivisie. Then at the start of the next season, his first real season, because remember, he joined midway through the year, he had his big moment. On August 14th, 2022, Kerkez scored his first goal in the Dutch league, and it was a winner. In the 77th minute, the game was tied 2-2 against Sparta Rotterdam, and he popped up with a clutch goal to seal the win. That strike instantly made him a fan favorite. From that moment, Kerkez never looked back. At just 19 years old, he became AZ's starting left back for the entire 2022-2023 season. He played in 33 league games, scored 3 goals, and caused problems for defenders every time he sprinted down the wing. But it wasn't just in the league that he played well. He also showed his quality on the European stage. AZ had a deep run in the UEFA Conference League, and Kerkez added 2 more goals in 17 appearances. By the end of the season, he had played over 50 games across all competitions. For a teenager, that kind of workload is rare. I know Yamal and Barca Barca's child labor factory have made it seem like it's normal, but it's not. Scouts from big clubs across Europe started to take notice. Benfica, the giants of Portugal, came calling, but backed off when they heard AZ's asking price was 20 million euros. Manchester United should take notes. It's possible to walk away from the negotiation, guys. You don't have to give the team whatever price they demand. At this point, the message was clear. Kerkez wasn't just a talent. He was on his way to establishing himself as one of the best left backs in the world. In the summer of 2023, Kerkez took another bold leap forward, this time into the heart of English football. On July 20th, he signed with Bournemouth.
Sky Sports News can confirm that they have agreed a deal with AZ Alkmaar for the left-back Milos Kerkez,
a club that was looking for fresh energy and hungry players. The Premier League is always a tough test for any young player, but for Kerkez, it was exactly the kind of challenge that he craved. Right from the start, he looked at home. In the preseason games against Southampton and Atalanta, Kerkez showed that he belonged at this level. His pace, work ethic, and the fact that he made run after run on the left flank made an instant impression on the coaching staff. So when the league kicked off in August, there was no hesitation. He was in the starting lineup. On August 12th, 2023, Kerkez made his Premier League debut in a 1-1 draw with West Ham. At just 20 years old and in a new country, he had claimed the left back spot on day one. It was a reminder that this kid was ready. Now, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. His first season in England had its ups and downs. In a match against Wolves, he was shown a straight red card.
The right hand side. Oh, that's a terrible challenge by Kerkez on Doherty.
No.
Oh no, it's red!
I was given red.
Kerkez is gone!
It was a harsh moment. Maybe a bit of youthful energy, maybe just a misjudged tackle. Either way, it earned him a 3-game suspension. Bournemouth tried to appeal it, but the decision stood. Sometimes, as we will see later in the video, Kerkez can be a little bit too aggressive, but it's nice to see players actually fight for the badge. Anyways, he actually bounced back from that moment, and he worked even harder. Once he returned, he became a regular starter. He ended the season with 28 league appearances, starting in most of them. He also picked up 1 assist. Whether he was tearing down the wing, making a crucial tackle, or providing an outlet on the counters, he was constantly involved for the Cherries. He logged nearly 1,900 minutes of Premier League action. Solid numbers for your first year in the world's toughest league. As the seasons went by, he adapted more and more. He was surrounded by other young talents like Dean Housen, and Iraola's system really matched the way Kerkez played. It was a fast-paced, high-pressing style. Kerkez played as a traditional left back in a back four, but he had a lot of freedom to charge forward. He gave Bournemouth width, he delivered crosses into the box, and then he sprinted back to help defensively. His biggest strengths were obvious. It was his speed, stamina, and the fact that he had an attacking mindset. It was a match made in heaven. It's also why Bournemouth was able to get so many good results. Because he was a young guy, there were still areas of his game that he was developing. His decision making in the final third was beginning to improve, and his positioning when defending still needed polishing. In many ways, he was very raw, but as the season went along, he only got better and better. The tools were all there, he just needed time to sharpen them. By the end of the 2024 season, there was no denying his progress. He had established himself as one of the most promising young fullbacks in the Premier League, and thanks to players like Kerkez, Bournemouth finished the season with their highest ever Premier League points total. It was a season of growth both for the club and for Milos Kerkez. Now, if his first year in the Premier League was about learning the ropes, his second was about grabbing that rope and putting his balls through it. Because in the 2025 season, he didn't just hold on to his starting spot, he owned it. By the time April rolled around, Kerkez had played in every single one of Bournemouth's league matches, and by season's end, he had started 37 out of 38 games. Like, think about that, at just 21 years old, he had already become one of the most reliable players in the league. For Iraola, he was essential. The difference between his first season and second season was night and day, and a part of that was because Iraola gave Kerkez more freedom to do what he does best: run hard, run fast, and do it constantly. The team had embraced a pressing high energy style even more now, so it came as no shock that Kerkez was thriving in it. The guy's stamina is incredible. He ran nearly 280 kilometers over the season, placing him in the top 10 in the league for distance covered. He made 616 sprints, which was the 5th most in the Premier League that season. But here's an even wilder stat. No one overlapped more than Kerkez. He charged forward 237 times to support his winger, which was more than any other player in England. Like, when I say this guy was everywhere on that left side, I'm not even exaggerating. Statistically, he covered every inch of grass that was on that side of the pitch. And the thing is, he wasn't just running for the sake of running. He's not a stamina merchant. When he got forward, it turned into real results. In his first season in England, his statistical output was pretty much non-existent. But in the next season, he was among the league's top 3 defenders for assists. Bournemouth had become one of the best teams at scoring from crosses, and Kerkez played a big part in that, directly setting up many of those goals. One of his biggest moments came against Manchester City. In that game, he outpaced Phil Foden down the wing, cut the ball back to Semenyo, and watched his teammate bury the opener. Kerkez actually got 2 assists that night, as Bournemouth absolutely slapped Guardiola's men. I remember this game, the stats don't do it justice. They completely demolished City. It was actually after that game that Iraola really praised his endurance. On top of assisting, Kerkez was now scoring goals as well. His first came in a 4-2 win over Wolves. Instead of a red card this time, he scored a thunderous strike that won Bournemouth's goal of the month.
Square ball, top of the box, Tavernier lines one up, lays it off to Kerkez who shoots! And Milos Kerkez scores!
Then in January he scored again, blasting in a stoppage time goal to cap a 4-1 win at Newcastle.
Kerkez in space, left of the D, Kerkez lining up his man, is he going to go for goal? Kerkez on his left foot, it's a 4! Oh my word!
He had gone 6 times the amount of output he had gotten the previous season, and we were only midway through the 2025 year. A reason for that wasn't just because he got better, it was also that tactically he was playing higher up the pitch than before. At times under Iraola's system, Kerkez looked more like a left winger than a defender. He was positioned so high up the pitch, but he was allowed to do this because he had the athleticism and stamina to run back in case he lost the ball, or if Bournemouth lost the ball as a team. Iraola had a lot of faith in him, and thanks to his athleticism and the freedom given to him, Kerkez actually led his team in open play expected assists from crosses, and he was getting more touches in the final third than ever before. Defensively, he was doing great as well. He averaged 1.4 tackles per game, so he was a bit passive, but that's only because his positioning was good enough that he didn't need to jump in. He didn't have to lunge because he would just push the attacker to the sideline and then use his speed and aggression to push him away. That's why he won over 60% of his ground duels and rarely got beaten one-on-one. I remember I caught a few Bournemouth games and teams would literally go down the right hand side because they couldn't get past Kerkez. His discipline also improved. No more red cards, just a few yellows here and there across the whole season. By March, he was voted Bournemouth's player of the month again, and his performances were a big reason why the team was pushing close to a European spot. By this point, Kerkez wasn't just seen as a breakout star, he was seen as a complete fullback. In just 2 seasons, he had gone from a raw talent learning the English game to one of the most exciting left backs in the entire league. And his style was clear now. He was the tireless, high-flying defender who supported his winger, delivered dangerous balls into the box, but still held down his own at left back. It's why every single season, the amount of minutes he had played got higher and higher. By the age of 21, he had played over 4,400 minutes in the Premier League. And that's a key thing to note. Liverpool are getting someone young, but they're getting someone who has already proven himself in the Premier League. Yes, it might have just been only 2 seasons, but he's played a ton of football in that period. And more importantly, he has shown in his career that he's gotten better and better season by season. So you don't have to worry about him adapting to a new league or country. He knows what the Premier League is like. Not to mention that he's already boys with Szoboszlai, as the two know each other from playing together on the Hungary national team. And the other thing is that players with the athleticism of Kerkez rarely struggle in the Premier League. I mean, the guy has more stamina than Lily Phillips. When you mix in his athleticism with the fact that he's so aggressive in duels and the fact that he's good on the ball, you get the perfect modern day fullback. With Robertson slowing down, this is the perfect opportunity to upgrade that position. In many ways, Kerkez's story feels familiar because we've already seen it before. Think back to Andy Robertson at Hull City. He was already showing promise, standing out at a smaller club, catching eyes with his energy and drive. But it wasn't until he joined Liverpool, surrounded by other world-class players, guided by a top manager, and pushed by the pressure of winning, that he truly exploded. His game went from impressive to elite. Kerkez is walking the same path. At Bournemouth, he's already proven that he's a quality player. He's been fearless, consistent, and constantly improving. Look at the quality of his assists against City. Look at his assists versus Spurs. Now imagine what happens when you put a talent like that in a team like Liverpool. Sharper teammates around him, bigger ambition, more of the ball. Kerkez is not going to be crossing to Salah, passing to McAllister. He'll be crossing to Nunez too, but I don't know if we want to flex that. Like Robertson before him, Kerkez can go from promising to irreplaceable in just a few seasons. This is the kind of step that changes everything in a player's career. And if you're worried about Kerkez's quality, just remember that people were unsure of Robertson as well back in 2017, and we saw how that turned out. Being a good young left back with Premier League experience is not the only reason he's being connected to Liverpool. Because you see, before Richard Hughes came back to Liverpool in the summer, he was at Bournemouth, and he was the one who signed Kerkez for the Cherries. So he has known for a while how good this kid is. Here's another fun fact. When Kerkez was playing for AZ in the Netherlands, Slot was in charge of Feyenoord, so the Dutch Lex Luthor knows all about Kerkez's abilities way before going head to head against Bournemouth in the Premier League. So Slot knows that Kerkez has the flexibility to be a fullback in his system. He has seen how good Kerkez's off the ball movement is. It's his best quality. This guy was at the top when it came to not just overlapping runs, but also underlapping runs. So when I made the stamina joke earlier, I wasn't joking. This guy is always making positive runs to help his fellow winger. So imagine what Gakpo and Diaz can do with this demon flying behind them. And like I said earlier, he isn't just running for the sake of running. He creates a ton of chances from the left back spot. He has all the physical and technical attributes needed to succeed in Slot's system. Of course, there are going to be things to iron out, but nothing suggests that he can't adapt. Now, nobody can ever be the next Andy Robertson, but Kerkez does seem to have all the ingredients to become one of Europe's top fullbacks. And it will be very easy for the Hungarian to adjust because next to him will be the best center back in the world. To see how Van Dijk went from being someone whose price tag was questioned to becoming an absolute Liverpool and Premier League legend, you have to check out this video right here.